Well, this South West Thames Kidney Fund really came out following my appointment as the second nephrologist at st.Helier Hospital, Carshalton. And when I came to the interview here, I was horrified to see 7 or 8 other highly qualified young kidney doctors all vying to get this wonderful job. And at the interview, things seemed to be going very badly. And just as I was about to leave, the chairman leant over and said, "Is there anything you can do to improve the outcome of this kidney unit?" And I said, "Yes, sir," without even thinking. "If you appoint me to this job, I will build a research institute." So that was the setting. And in 1984 or 1985, we set up a number of well-wishers of patients with kidney disease in South West Thames. Many of them were patients themselves or relatives of patients, and we began collecting money. It took us about 12 years to raise nearly £1 million to build the institute that you've seen on this video. It is one of only 3 independent kidney research institutes in the United Kingdom, and this means that our scientists aren't focused on government targets, but they're free to range and roam anywhere within the confines of investigating and experimenting and developing new treatments and new ideas on the cause of diabetic kidney failure, looking at the long-term view. Blue sky research, we call this often. The stimulus that the Scientific Institute produces to young doctors and nurses and dietitians and paramedical staff is absolutely inestimable, and it allows them to widen their horizons from just focusing on the day-to-day needs and problems of patients, often who are desperately sick before the treatment has been successful, and it allows them to see the work that they're doing in the context of the bigger wider scientific world. And this can only be enormously beneficial to their own personal development. We've managed to attract many of the leading young aspiring nephrologists to come and work here just because of the institute that we've set up. And many of these young men and women are now consultants throughout the United Kingdom and even overseas. It does provide that extra clinical care, which allows us to provide 8 junior trainee nephrologists to the South Thames region. The real sense of pride and achievement is to see what nurses and doctors and technicians and scientific staff can achieve when they're totally backed by patients and relatives and friends. And it's the team effort that's so exciting and produces such enthusiasm. Well, the Kidney Fund needs to raise at least £400,000 a year, and that is just for the baseline running costs of the Institute. We do, of course, have considerable potential to expand that, and if and when more funds become available, we could readily take on an extra postdoc student and 1 or 2 more PhD students. The ambitions for the Kidney Fund are enormous, and we have reached a very critical point in our development. And up until now, nearly everything that we have done has been funded by goodwill and by donations and by fundraising projects, by patients and their families and by local organisations. Fundraising areas have been set up in Croydon and in Sutton and in Kingston and in Guildford and in Camberley, the main areas covered by our patient pool. And in the last year or 2, we've been absolutely grateful to receive the fantastic support of Graham Morrow, who's the father of one of our young kidney transplant recipients. And Graham has really thrown himself into organising fundraising events across Surrey and has brought in a lot of extra new ideas to keep the coffers full.
Our involvement with the Kidney Fund started in 1991 when our second boy, Craig, was diagnosed with polycystic kidneys. This fitted in quite well with our lifestyle in as much as our eldest boy had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 15 months old, and diabetes and kidney disease are both closely related. Our object is to try and retain 18 months to 2 years funding at today's level to ensure the continuity of the Institute. Our approach is to have as many different types of fundraising activity as possible. For this, we're very grateful to Anne Collard at the Institute for organising things like the fire walk, the auctions at the House of Lords, the Dragon Boat Race, which took place at Kingston. These are all one-off big hit activities, cannot be repeated regularly, but they give a boost to the funds which allow us to continue. Our fundraising sources, as far as the local branch is concerned, primarily come from store collections. These take place over 1 or 2 days and require ideally 8 to 10 people to cover the hours necessary, but sometimes people are just not available at the time we need them. Some people who have been fortunate enough to receive transplants and are now well have the mindset that I'm better now, it doesn't matter. So it's not easy motivating people to collect money. We as a local branch aim to raise at least £1,000 a month to support the Institute. Out of 120 people, we probably have no more than a dozen who are active. Everyone receives the newsletter. Everyone can do a little. And if they did a little, those that are doing a lot can do a little bit more because they don't have to worry about the smaller pieces. We have less than 1% deduction from the money that is raised to that which goes over to the Institute. People, once they understand that everything they do goes to this source, then need to understand that it is every penny that counts. You don't have to organise something that will raise £1,000. A coffee morning that raises £20 over the 5,000 people that are receiving Renality is a lot of money. The important thing is to get involved. We need to know that we can continue for more than the 18 months funding that we have in reserve. Without money, we can't have research. Without research, we can't find a cure. And without a cure, we can't return people who've suffered from kidney disease and their families back to happy, normal lives.
You can find out more about the Research Institute in the other films on this DVD. To find out more about the Kidney Fund and to get involved with fundraising, visit our website at www.kidneyfund.org.uk. You can also call 0208 296 3698 or contact your local branch through our quarterly magazine, Renality.